Hey you guys, insight number 3. We're not in chronological order, as we often aren't, because it just seems to flow better. So we're going to go back to Genesis 39 and look at verses 8 through 15. This is where Potiphar's wife tries to have a go at Joseph. Obviously wasn't getting what she wanted from her husband, or enough of, or whatever. But anyway, however you teach this to your children, that's up to you. But as adults, we can look at this and go, oh my gosh, definitely a cougar, right? Okay, so 8 through 15. It says that she looked on him like, yeah. And he's like, but he refused and said, but, it's not something I would do. You're my master's wife. I'm not going to do that. I'm not married to you. It's not right. I'm not going to do that. And he said that he was like the top servant. He was like, under Potipher, the actual owner of the house, the master of the house. Joseph was the man to go to. He was like head butler, if you would, in these days or whatever, head housekeeper. And that, he's like, I can't do this thing. It's just, no, I'm not going to do it. And it came to pass as she spake to Joseph, this is verse 10, day by day that he hearkened not unto her, to lie by her or be with her. So she was at him every day. Like, come on, no is no, right? That's our society now. No means no. But she did not give up. She was so intent on having him. And 11, it came to pass about this time Joseph went into the house to do his business, and there was none of the men in the house there within. Like, oh my gosh, what situation has he got himself into now? And she caught him by his garment, like his coat, saying, lie with me. And he left his garment in her hand and fled and got out. So, like, he shrugged off his jacket and took off. Mate, he's like not hanging around. And then when it came to pass, when she saw that he'd left his garment in her hand and fled forth, so she's now feeling like embarrassed and ashamed, and what am I going to do, because I want to cover this up, because Joseph at this point is probably going to tell Potipher what's going on, right? So she says that she called unto the men of her house and spake unto them, saying, see, he hath brought in a Hebrew unto us to mock us. He came in to me to lie with me, and I cried with a loud voice. And it came to pass, when he heard that I lifted up my voice and cried, that he left his garment with me and fled and got him out. I'm like, that lying little trollop, right? So, oh my gosh, some people, and she's one of them, I think. I'm not very impressed. I'm hoping she sought forgiveness and corrected her ways, but we don't know. However, the question becomes, how do you avoid temptation? How can you prepare to escape temptation? Joseph was very good at it. He could have easily just done that, but he had values that he wanted to keep. He wanted to keep his covenants with God because he knew how important they were. He knew that intimate relations like that, especially with a married wife, he knew that was adultery, and he knew that was totally wrong, and he didn't want to do that. Plus, he quite liked Potipher. He was his friend. He made him head servant. He didn't want to muck that relationship up. So, like, what do you do? How do you prepare to escape temptation? How do you keep yourself in a place where you don't fall to temptation? Okay, so Joseph was valiant in facing temptation. His only option in this instance was to flee, to escape. And again, I'll say, if Potiphar had actually believed his wife 100%, he would have had Joseph put to death. He didn't, obviously, because he put him into prison. And I think probably spoke to the prison guard and said, look, this guy's actually okay, just, got to do that. Anyway, that's my opinion. There's no reference of that. That's just my opinion. The Come Follow Me manual teaches to plan ahead before any temptation arises. So Joseph could have planned ahead better and made sure that whenever he went somewhere in that house, he had someone with him, or there was like another man around to witness things, so that whatever Potiphar's wife tried, he had a witness to say, no, that's not right. So that's one thing we can do is, like, you chaperone dates. You, if you're struggling with, like when I gave up alcohol, I was really struggling with that. I needed someone to report to every day that I had not drunken any, that I had that support system in there. I had planned that. I had a wonderful missionary companionship that helped me quit those things, and a wonderful bishop who's now my temple president, awesome man, who helped me to have that like responsibility, and they would, you know, be okay. I also had really awesome workmates who knew that I was giving up alcohol, and so when we were going out, they would stick by me, and if someone would say, "I'll buy you a drink," they're like, "She'll have lemonade," you know, like before I could even answer, you know? It was just like, they were so good to me about it, and I'm really grateful for all of them that helped me do that. It was a really, really hard time, and I had great support, so that's another thing you can do, wrap support around you. Sometimes you can't always get that, so you need to be able to support yourself and avoid those places. Avoid those places of temptation. That's one thing to do. But plan ahead. Before it happens, plan ahead. Identify the temptation too. Like, what are the things that tempt you? Even if it's just like, I'm trying to lose weight and there's a whole lot of chocolate in the house. What's the temptation for you? Whatever it is, it might not be a sexual sin. It might not be alcohol like I was talking about for me. It could be anything that is a temptation for you that you want to not go there. It might not even be, like, as I said, chocolate. It's not really breaking a commandment. It's probably breaking the word of wisdom if you eat a whole lot of it, but like, it's not serious. You can recover from that. But what is the temptation? Before it happens, identify it, plan how to get around it, how to get away from it, how to avoid it, plan to respond. And there's a little section in the Come Follow Me menu that you can fill out for every, and like, you could copy that down and write that. Write your plan for that temptation, so that when you see that person, if you're having those kind of feelings, when you see that person, you make sure that someone else is always around, that you're not alone with them, those kind of things. So that wouldn't have happened to Joseph. If it's something like more word of wisdom based, then you make a plan to not have it in the house, to not go somewhere that sells it. You know, there's lots of ways. Have that plan ahead. What are you going to do? Who are you going to call in that moment? Yeah, who are you going to call? Ghostbusters? No. You're going to call your friend who's going to talk you down from buying that bottle of wine or whatever it is that you're looking at that is your temptation. That's what you need. Okay. The better prepared you are to deal with temptation, the easier it will be when it comes your way, because Satan will definitely tempt you. He will absolutely, definitely tempt you. When I was giving up alcohol, I was walking home from work and I found a complete packet of cigarettes, not even opened, completely safe, just lying there on the footpath. And I'm like, I'm not going to smoke either just because I want to give up alcohol, because that would be a natural thing, you know, that both of them are legal in my country. Both of them are not, you know, seen as evil at that time. Like, it wasn't as bad as it is now with smoking. Everyone's vaping now, interestingly enough. But that was right there, and I just picked them up. I didn't just throw them in the bin. I squished the packet so the whole lot would have been destroyed. Threw it in the bin, and I was like, yeah, nice try, Satan, nice try. I'm not giving in on that. So, the easier it is to avoid those things is if you have a plan ahead of time. Hopefully, and I pray that you can have that support around you. If you can't get that support around you, pray for some support, but definitely have a plan in place before that temptation arises, because you know Satan's going to send it. Right, quickly, Ezra Taft Benson, he said, "It is easier to prepare and prevent than to repair and repent." I love that, right? So cool. Love me. It is easier to prepare and prevent than to repair and repent. And it so is. 100%. Believe me on that. And I'm sure a lot of you right now are nodding your heads going, yes, it is easier to like not do it in the first place than to try and fix the mess afterwards. So there you go. We're going to move on and look at how the Lord can guide us like he guided Joseph. I'll see you there.